It's now that we want to look at programming language. HTML, CSS, those ones are not programming languages. May I consider them as web technologies, not a programming language. But JavaScript is a programming language. It is a scripting language, meaning that you use it to write scripts that runs on a server or that runs on a computer that is acting behind the scene or behind the camera. That is the job of JavaScript. And JavaScript also is very important in web development because you cannot talk about front-end frameworks without talking about JavaScript. If you talk about React, is built on JavaScript, Vue is on JavaScript, Angular is on JavaScript, Vite is on JavaScript. So it becomes like a must-have tool if you only want to be a front-end developer. Now, when it comes to back-end, it also has libraries for back-end like Node.js, like Express.js, and other stuffs. But if you want to consider other options for backend, you now talk about PHP, you now talk about Python, you now talk about Java and the rest of them. But for front end, you must know how to deal with JavaScript. And then because JavaScript is a scripting language, it does not display on a web page like what you are seeing on the screen right now. What you are seeing here is the job of HTML and CSS. And this is exactly what we did last Thursday, yes, on Thursday. So if we want to write JavaScript right now, we will not be able to start seeing it right here on the page. It is something we need to write on a different IDE. And I want to say that as a beginner in JavaScript, you need to be very patient and take it easy on yourself, because from beginning you will not be impressed with what you are writing. There is no visual something that is appealing to the eyes that you use and encourage yourself that, okay, this thing that I'm writing is good, is not good, this, that. No, nothing like that at all. It is something I need to write from scratch and gradually start understanding how whatever you are writing works. Inside here, we're going to start our JavaScript. Please, nobody else should unmute to talk. Yeah, you guys are distracting me and it's getting me somehow. So inside this, we're going to start writing our code. And I want to just highlight a few things from this tutorial website, the W3 schools, just for a quick understanding of where we are heading to. I've earlier explained that JavaScript is a programming language used for scripting server programs that runs on server to create interaction on a web page and some other things. And I said one of the reasons why it's important is because, in fact, all the wonderful frameworks for front-end developers is dependent on JavaScript. So if you at all want to be a front-end developer, you must learn JavaScript. All right, a full stack developer, you also need to learn JavaScript. If you want to do only back end, you may decide not to learn JavaScript and choose another language, which is completely optional. So in this introductory path, we're going to try as much as we can to understand how to write a basic JavaScript syntax. Very, very important, because there are rules that govern JavaScript that if you do not follow that rule, then you will start from the one to have some challenges. After that, we go into explanation of the data types. After that, we look into DOM manipulation. Yes, our instructor, Mr. Praise, said that because we are going into React, we don't actually need to waste time on DOM manipulation, but I can tell you that it is important on your own. I believe his statement simply means that you have to go and figure it out by yourself. DOM manipulation is very important, okay? And inside our VS Code, we are going to be using a script. Don't worry, this dog is making a house. So inside our VS Code, we are going to make use of the script elements. Let me come to the end of this. So we are going to make use of the script elements. You just type in scripts. My VS Code is misbehaving. I don't know why. So you type in your scripts element, you break it into two, and then we'll start writing our JavaScript in between these script elements. So right here, for us to see the result of what we are writing, for us to see the result, in JavaScript it is called log. So if you want to see the result of what you are typing in JavaScript, you have to log it out. And because of IntelliSense, if I type log, you will see this first one with a block. I'll have to zoom in a little bit to be sure that we are seeing it very well. No, it's too much. Okay, so you see when I type in log and I click this first one, it will just generate console.log for me. And inside here, you are seeing hello world. So if I save this, and then where do I see the results? Is it going to show on a browser? The answer is no. If I open this page where our code is running, if I refresh this, whatever you have written in JavaScript for now is not going to show here. Why? Because it has not been instructed to show on the browser. So where we need to check our
It's breaking,
code.
sir.
Sorry?
Your line is breaking. Your network is breaking.
Is it my voice or you are not seeing my screen? Which one?
Your screen.
Does
No,
it send everything?
I can see it now.
Please, if you have a screen or voice hitch, just refresh your page first. Sometimes it may be your network. I can see it's everything here and the voice is clear.
Can we continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
So right here we have written our code. Inside the script element, I typed in console.log. In quotation here, we put in hello world, which is a traditional greeting to a new language that you want to learn. So that's the first thing they usually print out. So let us check some of the options that we have inside this VS Code as far as our JavaScript is concerned. So If I come over here and I come to the terminal, I open the terminal. Here you are seeing the terminal. Nothing is showing on the terminal. It will just give me the URL path of my file. If I go to problems, if I go to output, nothing is there. If I go to debug console, console is not showing me anything either. It's just there. If I check all this, so obviously it looks like there is nowhere we can see the output of this code. But then if I go to the website, this one, because that JavaScript is inside the index.html, if I inspect this page, right, if I inspect this page, under here you are seeing a lot of things. The one we have been using is this elements section. Beside the element you have the console. And as I open the console, you can see our hello world right inside here. Okay. And let's check something. If I should type in here console, sorry, if I should type in here console.log and I put in another, this time I'll call it hello, let me just call it hello JavaScript, and then I close and I press enter. You see that, okay, hello JavaScript is printed out. Hello world from the VS Code is also printed out. What does that mean? It means that from here we can type our JavaScript code and it will show on a browser. I mean, it will show the results, not on a browser, but in the console section. Now, let us maintain it like this. There are extensions in JavaScript, I mean in VS Code, that will help us, or that can help us to run JavaScript code directly inside VS Code. But later we'll talk about that. But for now, let us maintain this. So I will split then the screen into two like this, so that we'll have the JavaScript and also have the browser console, so that we'll be able to see the output of what we are writing. As we write, we see the output and so on. Okay, this is good like this. Now let us explain what we have here. Like I said, in JavaScript, for you to see the console, use console.log. But we must know that in a real project, it's not console.log they use. Console.log is a debugging tool. That is, if you want to see the output of your program before maybe it is considered to be ready for public use, this is console.log is what you use to check whether what you have written is responding the way it ought to respond ahead of time. So you don't use console.log in a real program, just for testing and debugging purposes. Let's take note of that. And now, when you are writing a JavaScript syntax, it's every expression. In JavaScript, there's what we call, or in programming generally, there's what we call an expression. An expression is just like a sentence. You know, what determines the end of a sentence in English language is full stop. Anywhere you see full stop, then you know that is the end of that sentence. Whatever that comes after is a new sentence. So in JavaScript, an expression is a block of code that is capable or that can produce an output. So, and for you to know where an expression ends, it must end with semicolon. Very important. Those of us maybe who have had idea of Python knows that this rule does not apply to Python. So different programming languages have their own syntax rules. Okay, so it's important that we note that. So as you are writing, if you forget to put in semicolon, then the computer would assume that, okay, you have not finished. The sentence is still going on. In other words, the expression has not ended. But once you put semicolon, then they will know that, okay, this is where you want to draw the curtain for a particular expression. That's why whatever we are going to be writing moving forward, we are going to be seeing this semicolon coming up several times, several times. JavaScript can be used for different, to print out different things. This console.log can be used for different outputs, for mathematical output, for a string output, for logical and whatever that you want to call it. We are going to experiment some of them here. So these are just a few basic things, and like we have as our own principle here, for those that are joining us for the first time, we always tell ourselves to go and read it up. That's why I always show this W3 school. There are some other, the other day, I think in one of the classes, I showed us different platforms like DevDocs, I showed us MDN, I showed us this W3 school. Even if you can check Free Code Camp, these are amazing platforms, Stack Overflow, where you get to learn more about certain things. So all this long grammar, all the long grammar, oh God. So all this long grammar, I'm going to cut it short so that later on you can read it up on your own. Let's now focus on the main thing that we want to do today. By the time we go into DOM manipulation, we'll now start looking at some other output methods that is very, very important. Okay. Now, let us go into JavaScript statements. I first of all made mention of an expression. Yes, expression is another language or synonymous to a statement in JavaScript. And what you can see here on the screen is nothing but just examples of different JavaScript statements or JavaScript expressions. And when I talked about syntax, I said there are rules, they are the rules of the game or the language. They are the rules of the language. So we are going to be making reference to this syntax a whole lot of time. When we want to do one thing, we'll come back here, we'll check what is going on, how it is done, especially when you have mixed something. Okay, then you'll come and just take a look at it. If all this grammar is done, let's quickly look at variables, because that is where the main, sorry, what am I doing? Okay, variables in JavaScript can start with three different keywords, either var, let, or const, and the differences are simple. How are they simple? This var is a short form of variable, or I don't know why I like calling it variable. Some call it variable, whichever one. But this one, like we said, let me use a terminology to describe them. Var is a weak form of declaring variable because this can be overwritten by another variable. Now, let can be overwritten. You can modify the content, but you cannot declare a variable that you have declared with let multiple times. While this constant is a constant variable, it does not change. Once you declare it, it remains the same. So let us quickly do something now. So I'm going to declare a variable starting with a keyword var. This is a reserved keyword for JavaScript. And the next thing that follows is the variable name. After the variable name, this equal sign is called the assignment operator. Then I'll just give it what I have as suggestion here, John Doe. Okay, if I save and I refresh this page, you will see that, hold on, something is wrong. Okay, I need to log out this name here. I hope I'm not doing something wrong here. So guys, what is wrong with this code? Okay, so if you look at the console on the browser, you see that the John Doe is being printed out. Sorry, because these ones were not commented out, that's why it was displayed. So if I come down and I declare another variable var and I still give it name, and this time around I just call it mark, okay, and I save and I refresh, see what happens. So the browser did not even complain, the VS Code did not complain, there is no complaint at all. Instead, the console is giving me the second value instead of the first one. Why? Because JavaScript is read from top to the bottom. So it is the last one that is going to give me. Now, if we are now using var to declare your variable, you see that you can make a lot of mistakes along the line. You will not even know where that mistake is coming from, because the IDE will not complain, the browser console will not complain either. Everything will look as if it is okay, but actually something is wrong somewhere. That is if you are using this var keyword. Now let's go to let's. Using the same approach, let us just declare a variable here with let, and we assign it to the same John Doe, and then I refresh. You see, this is working. Let us declare another variable with let again, and this time around we give it the same name. Look at what happens. It's not even allowing you to finish. It is complaining. If I run this, see what happens. It said it is giving us a syntax error. And the browser is already telling us that the name, the identifier name, has already been declared. Why? Because we have name here, and then we are using the same name identifier to declare another variable. So the error would come up immediately. You will know that, okay, something is wrong somewhere. All right, but for me, maybe I want to change this John Doe to Mark. I can get rid of this let's, all right, save it, and then refresh. It works. Why? Because I did not declare or create another variable with the same identifier. Instead, I am trying to change the content of the variable that I've declared with this identifier name. In that way, it is not going to give me an issue at all at all. I don't know if we're getting the point here. So that is why it is most advisable to use let when you are declaring a variable that along the line, you may want to change or alter the value of that variable. If you use let, that will be fine. You won't have any issue at all. But if you want to declare another variable with the same name, then you are going to have the browser and the VS Code to contend with. Now let's go to the third one, which is const, and then we do the same. Let's not just waste time. So I save, I refresh, it works, and then here we use const again. I will call it name, and this time I want to give it the same mark. Sorry, want to give it mark, and we save. You see, the problem here is the same syntax error. Is telling us that the identifier has been already used. So, but what happens? What if I want to use the same method I used before to change the content of this variable that I declared with const? If I save it and I refreshed, it said type error. You see, this time const is giving us a different error called type error. Assignment to constant variable z, assignment to constant variable, which means I have already used this variable somewhere, and what is inside remains what is inside. I cannot change it. It will remain there the way it is. So it will not allow me, this const will not allow me to change what I have stored inside this variable for whatever reason. It's going to give me an error. Now this little demonstration is just to show us why sometimes we use var, we use let, and we use const. And that is why when you are creating functions, most times you see const, and all of that. So, because you don't want a situation where you yourself by mistake you may forget, and then you go and make a mistake, you want to use another name again, the same a name that you have used before, and declare a variable or declare a function or an array or object or whatever. This little explanation that I've given, I think it will help somebody to have a little insight on what is going on here. And then on your own, you can just take a little time to read up, and then you will have more idea. And when you have question, you ask question. Can we move on? Okay, if we can move on, let's quickly look at something here, because I believe we have beginners with us. What are the components of a variable in JavaScript? First, you have the keyword. Let me not use reserve keyword. You have the keyword, which can either be var, let, or const. And I've explained all this, so it depends on what you want to achieve. Now, that is the first component. That's the first thing you do when you are creating a variable in JavaScript. The second thing is the identifier, or you can call it the variable name. You can call it the variable name. Whichever one you call it is correct. The third one is the assignment operator, not equal to or equals to, as a Nigerian tongue. So that is the third thing. You use your assignment operator, which is an equal symbol, and the third thing there is the value you want to pass into that variable. Your value can either be of different data type. It can be a string, it can be a number, it can be a boolean, it can be an object, it can be an array, it can be a function, or some guys, sorry, the dog is disturbing. So, or some other data types. Okay, so the question now is, at what point will you say that you have declared a variable? Once you have written the var, which is the keyword. Once the keyword is there and the identifier is there also, at this point you can say that you have declared a variable. That's what we call variable declaration. Okay, and then the second part is the variable initialization. So if you add the assignment operator and the value, then the variable is complete. At that point, you said the variable has been declared. So like this, if I add the, why I'm putting this name, okay, let me undo it that way so that I don't confuse somebody. So if I add the assignment operator and a value, I have initialized my variable. So it is possible for you to declare a variable without initializing it. That means you have created a variable that you have not used. An empty container is there waiting for you to store something inside it, which at any time you can use the variable that you have created, which is totally up to you. But once you have used the assignment operator and there is a value, that variable is complete. That variable is declared and initialized. Okay. If there is any question, let's ask. Because I want to get rid of this and then we'll go to something different. If there is no question, okay, I'm seeing a hand up. Let me see who is raising hand up. Go ahead. Go ahead and ask your question, please. I thought I saw a hand up.
Sorry, it was a mistake, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's quickly look at data types, things that we can store inside variable, which is considered as the data types. Like I said, value of a variable can be of different types. Okay, and just to illustrate this, I'll have to create some variables here. So this name variable is of data type string. The second one, age, is of data type number, or we call it integer. This is student is of data type.
Hello. Sorry, sir. Hello. Hello.
I can hear you.
Yeah, maybe I missed some class. I noticed that as you are typing the syntax, some words are already on your screen. Did you integrate? Did you add any extension? As you are typing the value like let, I'm seeing some statement already like this one beneath let obis reading. As in, did you add an extension? Is that why? As in, I think those things. I think there's something that is helping you to have additional syntax. I don't know. Like this one now, underneath I have let obis equals to.
I understand what you are saying. We'll talk about that later. Let's focus on what we want to learn. So later on, we'll talk about it. There are extensions. There are some other things that we can do to let this happen. But for now, let's focus on understanding the topic, data types. You understand? So that we will not be, how do I call it? We will not digress from what we are trying to do. So I promise you, as we continue, we are going to look at the extensions so that your own will be easier. I don't want to use an IDE or disable all the extensions because typing it, if I have to type everything myself now, it will take us time. But if the typing